Live from the grill, it's Champions Corner. Thursday, August 6th. Man, it was was it a little warm out there? Our crack executive producer. You know, when he started here, he was just a producer.
Yeah, now
and so he's gotten a raise. He's called the executive producer now. And, you know, the next level of raise is Mr. Executive Producer.
You know,
is it me or has it been hot lately? Even though I'm hearing the temperatures are like in the upper 80s and, you know, the low 90s, I'm going, geez, it's getting hot out here.
It could be the factor that we're getting moisture and we're starting to get a little bit of humidity. It's something that we're not accustomed to here at the dry weather. So,
you know, you were on the field this afternoon. You and your boy were tossing the old pigskin around.
Yes, we were. Got some throws in. So,
you know,
and we did this morning at 9 too. So, we threw twice today.
Twice today.
Yep.
Good. So you better make sure you put that Renew 28 on.
Yeah.
Put that Renew on his shoulder. That is that's the number one thing for recovery with athletes now. You know, Sebastian's usually here. I haven't heard from him today. I would have to assume that he's up north and dealing with J.B. White, and I believe the services were today, the final services. You know, they had a huge turnout yesterday.
Yeah, and did he ever get it? Because I know he was talking. They were trying to get it to be able to stream it on.
Yes, they streamed it.
They did. They streamed it.
They had
we'll have to definitely get some
thousands of views.
That's awesome.
You know, on it, and so
good for people paying to be able to pay their respects. And what a tragedy.
Right, so. and you know, there's been breaking news in the case, and it's not going to be what they originally thought.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm out of the loop on that. You'll have to enlighten us a little bit more on that because I didn't pay attention to that local news. So
you know, you know, Sebastian, me and Phil were together last night, and after the services, Sebastian came back to Albuquerque, and you know, we were on the back patio. You know, you've never been to the back patio.
No, I never been to the man cave. Never been to the back.
But you've never been to the back.
That's the next level of
that's once you hit
platinum
that's
status.
Once you hit Mr. Executive Producer.
Yeah.
You get to come over to the patio. We were watching the games on the patio last night.
Nice.
Sebastian came over and you know, told us about the services and you know, we talked about it a little bit the other night. How did it affect your boys, particularly, you know, Aiden, being that the goal is to be a unique type of athlete? And, you know, how do you feel it affected? I mean, it affected Orion. Orion felt it.
Well, see, but I think he didn't know JB personally. So I think that's definitely a different perspective. So I think Orion probably, you know, played basketball in the same circles. Really, Aiden only did about a year and a half of AAU. So he didn't really run with that group of kids or probably be around them for all those years. And, you know, the crazy part is that I don't think young people can. And again, it's part of that prefrontal lobe that doesn't develop, where they really understand the gravity of things,
right?
You know, or have, you know, can reflect on those things. And him and I talked about it, and you know, and right when it happened. But I think more as a father, I think, and you and I, we had discussion along with Tiki. You know, man, it's a teachable moment for us as fathers. You know, they had a meeting the next day. Their head football coach, and he talked about it, how important it is about the choices and consequences that you make, and is it worth it? You know, is it worth it partying, and then, you know, you go and hang out with friends, but then you stay out till all hours of the, you know, and if somebody bucks up to you, is it worth it? You know, so all these things, you know, so that was the part of the teachable moment that I kind of went through with my son. You know, he really hasn't. I know he's cognizant of it. You know, I know. You know, but that's even just being part of an athlete, because if somebody takes a picture of you at a party, you're gone for 45 days, you know, in APS. It doesn't matter if you're drinking, not drinking. If there's somebody takes a picture of you at a party, and that's why I tell you know, I tell him all the time is that, you know, you get put on a pedestal, and you know, you get news articles and you're in the news, and, you know, and you know, you're on television and you start getting all this notoriety. Everybody just wants to come for you, and they just want to knock you down, you know.
Yeah.
So,
You know, and we've been very fortunate on this podcast to get some pretty prominent athletes, pretty predominant coaches, and I'm sure they all felt this. Like, I'm sure that they all felt that ripple.
oh yeah, they've all feel that opportunity for that teachable moment.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And there was, you know, the positive definitely without a doubt is that, you know, the dialogue that, you know, was talked about throughout the state, maybe throughout the country.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, maybe this was a teachable moment nationwide because, as I said on Tuesday's show, I read the article in the New York Post. They had an article about it. You know, I read the New York Post every day.
A top 100 kid that, you know, gets shot at a party where he shouldn't have been, you know. Definitely. That's definitely a thing that should be a teachable moment. Yeah, but sadly, you know, when my kids were young and it was my two olders they're already playing football already. We took him to a funeral of a kid that we went and watched him play in high school, and he was a Del Norte athlete, good student, hell of a football player, but he took some OxyContin, came home before his curfew, said, "Hi, Dad," went in his room, took too much OxyContin,
Went to sleep.
Died right there with his laptop in his lap, and his dad found him like that in the morning, blue and dead.
Slowed his heart down till the point it just stopped. Yeah.
So I remember that was sort of a huge teachable moment for my kids, because his mom and my son's mom, they worked together, and that she was just devastated. And we took them over there because we wanted them to see the devastation. We wanted to see them, you know, and that has always stuck with them about using substances, and, you know, here's a kid that was a good student, a multi-sport athlete, you know, and that can happen to you too. So
I think what we want to do, you know, and we're spitballing right now as we're talking, really what we want to do is let's have a show where we've got athletes and coaches here, you know, and talk about some of these issues that these young athletes are facing.
yeah, I know.
You know, let's get some of our guys that have been on, invite them back on. I think that would be a pretty prominent show for parents to tune in, and you know, we've got two parents here, and, you know, let's get a couple of coaches and a couple of players, and let's really talk about some of the issues. This social media, which plays a big part into this story with, you know, J.B. White, and the bullying and the criticism and the hatred and you know, someone's got to teach our young people to not take it like it's social media, like those tweets or those personal messages are in stone.
Teach parents so that parents can teach their kids, because I think too often we leave that responsibility to teenagers, and they're not capable of doing those things on their own. Some can, but the majority of them, they need that reinforcement at home all the time. You know, I completely agree with you. You know, so like Sandia's really good athlete, David Mapalo, he was out there one time at CNM West, and a couple of kids there were sitting there talking about things, and he's like, "I'm not going to those places." He goes, "My future's way more," and he impressed me because I was sitting there over listening to him. He's like, "I'm not going to those things." You know, they're talking about going to a party or something like that, and he's like, "I'm not going." You know, and this was way before JB, 4 weeks before JB White. And hopefully every athlete starts to think, okay, is it worth it? You know, maybe I'll just go and hang with a few of my friends in my backyard, or we'll sit there and play Xbox online, or, you know, go hang out at Sonic or something like that, and not get mixed up in those type of things. And I know firsthand, I did plenty of those things, and I hate to say it's a different day and age, but I remember somebody pulling a gun at a party, you know, and I'm 49, and that was, you know, what's that, 30 years ago?
You know, you're 49. You act like you're 20 years younger than me and Phil, for crying out loud. You're just a block away from us.
I know.
Wait till I tell Phil that you're pushing a big
But you guys are
5-0.
talking
You
about-
talk around like you're, like you're 39, for
I'm
God's sake.
young at heart. You guys are talking like, who's Tiki named after? I have no idea.
Tiki Swish.
Yes,
Tiki
I have
Swish
no idea
Burton.
who that was. What it was on you guys were- So
How dare you? Yeah, you're
I'm young
you're
at
right
heart.
with us, for
I'm
crying
young at
out
heart.
loud.
No,
You
it's
know.
like dog years.
Oh my goodness.
You guys are dog years older than me.
We've got a special couple coming on in about 15 minutes,
Yeah.
20 minutes. Tina and Chris Krupar, special couple. They're mortgage brokers. They own their own business. I want to talk about their business.
nice. Good.
You know, some business owners coming on tonight. Business owners, you know, in a time where people are hurting a little bit, you know.
And I always think it's always important, because I know coaching youth football, youth sports for the last 15 years, those are the people that always sponsor your kids. They're the ones that you go over there with the sponsorship letter, they'll write you a check. You go
Bay Equity.
You try and get $20 out of Walmart, and oh my God, it's like you got to go see Sam Walton in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? But that's the amazing thing about most of these local businesses is they're the ones that support the community, so we really have to support them.
I met Tina Krupar 7 years ago. She was, I was named the head coach of the New Mexico Stars. And 6 years ago, 2014. Met her in 2013 when I was appointed, and which was 7 years ago. And when I tell you a rabid football fan, rabid, you know, and we'll get into that with her
Awesome.
a little bit.
That'll be an interesting guest to listen to.
And when I tell you a rabid entrepreneur, I mean, Tina and Chris don't mess around. You know, they're building their business to one of the tops in the mortgage industry, you know.
That's excellent.
And they're self-made. Both of them self-made. You know, and you know, we're going to talk about that a little bit with her, and then
do you want to get a chance? Let's talk a little bit about ASEA now here at this part of the program.
yeah,
or?
let's run our ASEA clip.
Yeah.
My name is Cody Miller. I'm an Olympic gold medalist swimmer, and I currently hold the American record in the 100-meter breaststroke. Recovery is immensely important in the sport of swimming. When I finish a really, really hard race, it basically feels like my body is about to collapse. Everything is super, super throbby and really, really tight. So it's almost as if every step I take, my body's fighting back to not take that step. You know, when I climb out of the pool and have to walk around, it almost feels like my body is shutting down and there's this like scorching pain running through my veins. Before I was taking ASEA, I would do 1 or 2 races and then my body would really start to shut down. You know, I get really, really tired, just feel really, really fatigued. And obviously doing multiple races in one day is just very physically taxing on your body. So now that I'm taking ASEA, I'm able to compete longer, have more races in one competition and feel less tired. I just feel better as the meet progresses and I'm able to push myself to new levels. When I first started taking ASEA, it was during a really big, grueling, long block of training where I was swimming almost twice as much as I normally do in race season to really build an aerobic base. And what I noticed is when I started taking the ASEA, my aerobic base was increasing and I was able to train longer at a higher threshold. So that's when big strides in the sport of swimming are made, or when you're able to do that. From there, I just continually got better. You know, continually started making strides in the pool and then going best times. I'll never forget the first time I stood on that Olympic podium after winning that bronze medal in the 100 breaststroke. I looked off to my left and I saw my family and I basically started crying. I was like tearing up on the podium. When I was training leading up to the Olympics, I was taking ASEA and I had the best training block of my life. My name is Cody Miller. I'm an Olympic gold medalist swimmer, and ASEA powers my recovery.
Hey, we welcome everybody back to the show. Thanks a lot. That was a spot that we have there from a ASEA Redux Molecule. Coach is coming right back now into his chair, and he'll talk a lot more about it. If you look around our studio, it definitely is, it's one of our sponsors here, and it helps set us up all this great equipment here for us to be able to come and talk to you. So
They go, what is all that blue? What's everything blue? You know, Redux Molecules, man, that's the future. It's what we're made of, John. You know, and when you talk about a company like Redux, and they have gold medal Olympic athletes in the stable, not Olympic athletes, gold medal winning Olympic athletes. When you're talking about world-class triathlon athletes, you know, you being a former triathlon, you know, athlete yourself.
try the buffet more like.
You know, and I think maybe that's what Sebastian, you know, Sebastian has lost so much weight. He's walking regularly. He's playing golf. What's next for him? The triathlon?
Yeah, there we go.
You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine the day we all go and we'll have our signs out for, you know, for
I'll have
Sebastian?
a cup of coffee for him.
You know what I'm
like
saying?
Kramer.
Like, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'll be like, remember that motherfucker?
Redux Molecules is what really, you know, is so new when it comes to recovery of our athletes. Why is it important? You've been coaching for 25 years, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Now you have a son that is I don't want to put any pressure on him, but he's a superstar in the waiting.
Definitely.
You know, and so why is recovery important?
Oh no, yeah, that's the whole. You look at the whole. How does a muscle build? Okay, you have to create tiny little tears in it, and it has to recover and grow back stronger, and your body has to grow back stronger and recover. You know, and if you can find something that helps that and helps with the recovery, that puts you ahead of other people.
Well, Fatu Alale, one of my defensive ends for the Gladiator, longtime defensive end for me, one of my big sons I call, you know, if I love you, I call you big son. It's one of my big sons, and he works for Bones Jones.
Yeah.
And so, you know, after a year working with Bones Jones, I asked, you know, Fatu, what is the number one thing you've learned from Bones Jones? And he went, recovery. And how important recovery is to, you know, to the champ. Mm-hmm. And so that's important. What does ASEA do with the Redux Molecules? And as we talk, we're going to talk more every show about the power of ASEA. But for athletes, the key thing for ASEA is recovery. And recovery is the body healing itself. We rest so our body can heal, right?
Definitely.
You just said the muscle tears, right? We
It's the only way to
recover.
get stronger, yeah.
The blood flows through it a little bit more. You know, and that's how our muscles get mass and strength and explosion and all those things. We have a product here that is a cell signaling product for our athletes. It's a product that allows our body to heal itself. You're a former athlete. People find it hard to believe that I was a former athlete, you know, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, you know, and you know, when we sprained our ankles, 9, 10, 11 years old, how long were we down with a sprained ankle?
Oh, yeah.
Day or two?
Oh yeah, definitely.
At the most?
Yeah.
You know, or you were out playing the next day just with a little bit of a limp, and then 2 days later it was gone. Now we sprain our ankle. Can you imagine, God forbid, Sebastian sprains his ankle on a walk,
Yeah.
right? How would we even get him up? You know? Yeah. But now if we sprain our ankle, we're down, you know, a month. Why? Why is that? Do you know the reason why that is?
I'd probably assume that it has to do with age, and it takes us a lot longer to recover, you know?
And you know what has a direct effect on our aging? Redux molecules. The molecules that help our body heal itself. We have a deficiency of redux molecules as we get older. When we hit puberty, John, pay attention, this is important.
I'm listening.
When we hit puberty,
Yeah.
right? Our body stops producing at the level that they start producing. We in general, we call it aging, right? But really, it's our body's not producing as much redox molecules, and that affects everything that we do. Everything that affects all our health, everything, because nothing heals the body except the body. Our medications do nothing really but kind of deal with the symptoms, right?
Yeah.
Are we ever 100% from surgery?
Oh, no.
No. So you've had a little bit of an experience with redox molecules. Tell us what your experience was.
Well, you got us, it's the Redux
The Renew 28.
The Renew 28, yeah. So, you gave me a bottle here. Let me see I forget where camera I'm on. Okay, so the Renew 28, I got that for my son, and really now with COVID, I mean, there were weeks where we'd have 9 sessions of him throwing, and his shoulder he was dragging his shoulder, There were times that we'd have to
Fatigue.
Oh yeah, just overuse. So, but we started using it, and he saw a big difference instantly. So that was really good, just even from a topical perspective. We look forward to doing where we can. He'll start getting on a regiment there.
There's no doubt. My son Orion, keeps a tube with him at all times.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Tube with him at all times because, they're secure in it. They trust it. They do those things that, they work hard, these boys. They train hard.
Definitely.
And recovery is a big part. Why? Because they want to train hard. Recovery it plays a significant role in training harder, in pushing yourself even more. Recovery is what guides that, and that's why, we're on something here. We posted something that the Huffington Post posted.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the
And
screen.
the Huffington Post said the 5 companies that will affect the way we live for the next millennium, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And number 4...
5 emerging technologies in science. I'll put it up on the screen now.
Right.
So the 5 emerging things in science, and Redux was part of that. So
will shape our lives. That's important, man. When you get the Huffington Post saying, "Hey, this is something that's going to shape our lives in the coming years," man, it doesn't get better than that, and it will. It's a life changer. And as we go on from show to show, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, we're going to bring in some guests.
So right there, yeah.
We're going to bring
Redux signaling technology.
Yep. We're going to bring in some guests. We're going to bring in people that are going to talk about it. We're going to bring in some doctors. In the future, we'll talk about, the importance of it. Why does Coach B look so good, man? Why does he look so young? Coach B is young. I don't know, man. I said this with Sebastian, and I might have to apply it to you. I always love being in a room with Sebastian. Because if Sebastian was in a room, I'm not the ugliest motherfucker in that room. You know what I'm saying? Might be the same with you too, John. But here's the thing: if we can get you start taking redox molecules, my goodness, how pretty you'll become, and you'll have a hard time shaking the ladies, which you tell me you have a hard time now doing it. We're just gonna double that. The John Chavez dating service.
Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, so I put what they said along the bottom. These redox molecules, they've been around for eons, it says, but until recently learned about the central importance to health and on the cellular level. It's a new technology that emerged in healthy redox signaling molecules into the body, helping it to replenish your aging cells. Since we're made entirely of cells, every organ in the body can potentially benefit from this new technology. So. But yeah, we want to definitely
in the future, next week, we're going to show pictures of people that we know and what this science has done for them. And when you see it, it's going to be pretty crazy when you see it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward to it. So did you play our segment for Asia?
Old Bart Goble. We played our segment for us.
What did Bart Goble say? He's one of those Jersey guys.
He says, "You're not that young." He goes, "Hey, Don."
He's saying that I'm younger than I think I'm younger.
Yeah.
You know.
At heart. That's what I always say.
Did I see Matt Moss?
Matt Moss. He just gave a shout out to you. Says, "Love you, Coach B."
Hey, Matt, you got to come on the show, man. Like, if you ain't doing nothing right now, call in, bro. We're going to have Tina Krupar. You know the fabulous Tina Krupar on. We're going to have Tina Krupar on the show, Matt. Love to get you on. Matt Moss, Texas A&M, played in the league, and, we call him Mr. Rings because wherever he goes, he brings championships. And he came to Albuquerque promising that we were going to have a champion. And he delivered in 2018, him and his teammates. And I would love to have Matt, on the show. On the line right now from Bernalillo, New Mexico. And you are in Bernalillo, New Mexico, correct?
Rio Rancho.
Oh, you're in Rio Rancho because it could be Cabo San Lucas. It could be, it could be, it could be Costa Rica. It could be, these are world travelers right here. On the line, Tina and Chris Krupar, who rep their team is called Bay Equity. How does it go? Bay Equity what?
Home loans.
Bay Equity Home Loan.
Home loans, plural. You got it.
Bay Equity Home Loans. That's who they rep. That's their team. We're talking to the top coaches, the top head coaches. We should just say, really, we have champions on a show. Let's call them. We're talking to the top 2 champions at Bay Equity Home Loans. The fabulous Tina Krupar and the amazing Chris Krupar. Krupars, welcome to Champions Corner.
Thank you, Coach.
And is Chris around? Or are you? Hopefully, you're sharing a line because I need to have Chris on too.
Yes, sir. He's right here.
I'm right here.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. When you interview us, I'm kind of like that big front image of the Wizard of Oz, but then when you pull back the curtain, there's Tina actually making everything happen.
Well, one doesn't work without the other.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying? And so, let's start. We want to get into, and this is John, our crack executive producer. He reached executive a couple of weeks ago, and. We overpay people around here, so we call them executive producer, and so
their website. Give us the website.
Send the website so we can post the website up on screen.
What is it? Is it bayequityhomeloans.com?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's the Albuquerque branch. So.
We get to that one. Let me see.
Yeah, you should find us on there.
Gotcha.
Because we're nationwide. I opened this branch almost 6 years ago.
Awesome. I'll get you your website up here on our screen here, and give me about a minute. So,
Tina, let's talk a little bit, Chris. Let's talk a little bit about the origin of your relationship with Bay Equity Home Loans. Tina, how did this this dynasty take place?
Coach, you're so cute. Well, it started a long, long time ago, but I actually opened my branch here in Albuquerque in January of 15. So I'm coming up on 6 years. It was December of January. So we're coming up on 6 years. And prior to that, I was the branch owner of Prime Source Mortgage in the very same location. And I had that branch from 2008 to 2015. But since I've been with Bay Equity, I will tell you that it has been an honest to goodness game changer. Like, I could never put out the volume that we put out without the ops and the technology that we have in place. And it's cool because it is family owned, 3 brothers, Casey, John, and Brett, based out of California. And Casey's wife is from Jessica Foley. She's from Albuquerque, which is super cool. So anyway, like they got married here and so forth and so on, but now live in California. But yeah, I was introduced to them and met them, and it was just a match made in heaven. It was a perfect fit, and I've never looked back.
We want to make sure that your network is watching and listening. So both of you go on your Facebook page or your Twitter or YouTube. We're on all those, and share this right now so they can see you, hear you live and stuff like that. Because we're going to get into some pretty strong stuff here. Like for example, you have to sell your company to your home buyers. You have to let them know why, what's the benefit of coming to Bay Equity, home loaners, but you had to make the same decision 6 years ago. So tell me, why did you make that decision 6 years ago that your team was going to be Bay Equity Home Loans?
Because, honest to goodness, because of the ops and the technology, and the support staff that we have, and that's really what sets us apart. I'm one of 13 branches in our region, and my ops center's in Grand Junction, Colorado. And my boss, James Pulsifer, he does, I don't know, 160, 170 million a year. So the great thing about that is, and that was what the game changer for me was how does someone like that do that kind of volume? Well, they have great ops, which means underwriting, processing, closing, funding, shipping, the whole 9 yards. And so everything that he rolls out, and he's actually, one of the best in the entire nation, we get to have the luxury of those very same systems. So that's what did it for me. Just basically knowing that we were going to have support, solid support. It's huge. If you don't have the technology and the ops behind you, it's hard for a loan officer to be successful. And so that's pretty much why. It's been amazing. 2019, that was my career best year, and I've already surpassed those numbers where I was this time last year. So pretty amazing. It's phenomenal, actually. And I'm just proud. I'm proud to be able to offer the services that we offer. And I think what sets us apart, Coach, is my passion. You've seen me in action.
I've seen you in action many times, yes, Fabulous One. Sir. I've been honored to see you in action. And not only have I seen you in action, your husband, Chris, approves of me watching you in action.
That's right. That's right. So when I'm in the zone, it's just like you on the field, right?
Exactly. It's funny that you say that, because when I see that commercial, get in the zone, it makes me think of Tina Krupar, because you are so dedicated to your clients, and Chris also are so dedicated to your clients. We were out for breakfast one time, Tina and Chris are first class, top shelf, they work hard, they play hard. They took Coach out and his family to pretty fancy Sunday brunch.
Tamaya.
Tamaya over at the Santa, Santa Ana, top shelf.
Oh, definitely.
Top shelf. And when, I'm there and I'm seeing all this first class food and, this Pueblo bread being made right before my very eyes. And I just get comfortable in my chair. I let my pants out a little bit, because I need that extra room because I'm about to attack. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever been there for that?
Several times.
And so mm-hmm. I didn't care that people are going, what is Coach B doing there with his pants open? Yeah. I needed the extra room, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden, Tina gets a call on her phone, and it's one of her clients. Sunday morning at brunch. It's one of her clients, right? And so when I tell you the party ended, Coach, put that bread down. You know what I'm saying? Like, and can you imagine me being told, you know, we had, you know, nice melted butter on it, the jelly on it. You know what it's like out there. Coach, put that bread down. We're leaving. And I thought it was my mother. So I threw the bread down, and literally we left because Tina had to service her client. That was the only thing that mattered. You know, and Tina was very apologetic about it. Hey, man, don't apologize to me, man. This is your team. This is your, there's no days off when you're coaching your team. Mm-hmm. And so literally she was very apologetic about, she literally went to the office Sunday and serviced her client, and that's what sets people who are successful from the people who aren't successful. Tina, where'd you get the drive from? We talked about, we've seen you in the zone. We've seen that drive, and you have an abnormally high drive. Where did you develop that drive from?
Wow, Coach, you know what? I think it just stemmed from my childhood. I think it stemmed from having to take care of myself and make things happen and do what I need to do. Basically, that was it. And that's when I sit down at my desk and I'm working on my loans to take care of my customers. I want them to be pleased with my service. But really the drive just comes from, I just want to get it done. I'm all or nothing. There's no in between. There's no gray area. And I'm just all in. I'm all in. And I think it just has to do with failure's not an option, right? And I literally, that old song, started from the bottom, now I'm here. When I started in this industry 29 years ago, that's where I started. I started answering the telephone. And I said, whoa, wait, I'm more than this. And I just advanced and advanced and advanced to where I am now. And I have my own team and my own branch, and it's amazing, right? But work hard, nose to the ground, never give up.
Are you saying that you had natural tendencies there, or were there people in your life, whether it be a manager, whether it be this? We know obviously Chris has played a big part in shaping that drive. Not everybody has that drive. For example, I give the example of, we walked into Walmart and asked 100 people there, or let's say everybody in the store, if you want to be a millionaire, every one of them are going to say yes. You're going to have every one of those people at Walmart in your hand with one question. And then you're going to lose every single one of them with the second question. Will you be willing to do what it takes to become a millionaire? You, my friend, are willing to do what it takes. Who planted those seeds?
I, honest to goodness, it all started with me. And I say that, and say it proud. Yeah, that's right. It started with me. It started here. It didn't come from my parents. I'm estranged from my biological parents and lived with 6 families growing up. And that's a whole story for another day. But the point is, I knew that I wanted better for myself. And I knew that there was a life out there that, if with the drive and the motivation, I could make it happen. And I did.
And not only have you done that, you really said it. You live by the adage of no excuses. And I think that is something that you can teach people. Don't you believe that? Like, when you look for somebody, you've got some amazing people in your organization. And what do you look for those people? Do they have to have those same traits that you have to be on your team?
Not exactly the same, but the drive is definitely important. And the cool thing is, we each bring something different to the table, and we help balance each other. As we all tease Chris. We call him the Zen master. Right. I'm just stick and move, get it done. Boom! I got to move to the next thing. I got to get it done. I got to go. Like, let's do this. And I only want to touch it once, and I want it to be right. But the other folks on my team, they all bring something different. So I don't. And Chris always says, "Hey, T, not everybedy's Tina Krupar. Not everybody's going to work it the way you work it, and that's
There's
fine."
no doubt. Andreas
But-
Trujillo just said that you and Chris are amazing.
Oh, that's so sweet, and we just absolutely adore him as well.
Right.
Uh,
But he knows the talent that you two bring together, and that's the thing. It's funny that you call Chris the Zen Master. We've always given that term to like Coach Phil Jackson, who is known for his 12 rings, known for his success, known for driving a team, known for producing, getting people to produce more in their lives. And you take a lot of that. You're effectively, and this is no slight to Chris, because you know how much Chris means to me. He's the Zen Master to me too. You're effectively the head coach over there.
That's right.
And Chris, I'm going to give a Sopranos analogy. Chris is the consigliere. You're Mrs. Tony Soprano, and he's the consigliere. He's the one that,
Sal.
he's the one that, keeps it real for you. When you started your company, okay, when you joined the team, what was your goals? Did you have monthly goals? Did you have quarterly goals? Did you have annual goals?
I had annual goals. Well, it really started off monthly, right? And we've been in New Mexico for 15 years. And I literally started from, and my background was processing and underwriting, so I should kind of throw that in there, behind the scenes, and didn't really start originating until 2008, and didn't have a book of business. And I was out there pounding the pavement and doing what I had to do. And now I'm blessed in the regard that I don't have to do that. It comes to me, which is amazing, right? And that's what every loan officer wants. And but it takes a long time to get here. And it's anyhow. What was your question, Coach? I'm sorry. I just
listen. Have another.
Yeah. About my goals.
Have
That's
another
right.
wine.
I don't
wine
drink,
is
you know
important.
that.
Wine is important this
I
time
don't
of day.
drink. You know I don't drink, silly. Okay, goals. Now,
John, just repeat what Matt Kayward sent in.
Matt says we are very blessed to have had Tina and Chris in our own lives. It says true professionals and wonderful people, inspirational.
oh, that's so awesome.
I
and we
don't
love.
know if you're watching the show, but this is all on screen.
I love it. I love it.
And so, but
I
no,
was, but I was getting some feedback.
we were talking about goals, whether they were, monthly, quarterly, annually.
Annually.
When
Now they're annually.
you started the company, when you said, you had a vision on where you wanted to take your team, and how did it start out? Was with annual goals?
No, basically it was monthly. It was just, oh my gosh, what can I do, right? And how many loans can I close in a month? How many phone calls, how many referral partners? It was breaking it all down and literally built all of this organically. But in the beginning, I mean, it's slow going. And I say in the beginning, let's just call that 15 years ago when we came to New Mexico, because I started my career on the East Coast in Maryland. But anyway, then it was just months, right? Month by month. What do I have to look forward to? What's happening? What this and that. And now the best problem of all is it's hard to keep track. And I never thought I'd say that, right? I mean, I remember my boss, my ops manager coming to me and saying, okay, T, what's your goals? And this is what I want you to do. Well, this year, his goal for me is 60 million in volume. And I'm up for it. I'm up for the challenge. And in a small town like I say small town, but in Albuquerque, that's not as easy as it is when you're closing, million loans in California that are millions, and our average loan size is between 250 and 3 on a good day. So anyhow, yeah, I mean, so now it's more annual, you know what I mean? And last year I was so excited about what I did. I was ranked in the top 1% in the nation, and we're top 5 in the state for government loans and for closed loans. And that's huge, right? I mean, it's exciting. And many years ago, I probably never gave myself enough credit, but now I can, sit back and say, wow, I did it. I did this. And I did this all on my own, but with an amazing team. And it's just exciting. It's good stuff, right? Work hard, play harder. And that's my motto. And just try to, do the best I can.
What do you feel? You were self-made. You had to overcome a tough upbringing. Self-made. Sure. What do you have? And the reason why I asked this question, I already know the answer, but I want you to answer it for anybody that's out there that's listening, that's going to watch this now, tonight, tomorrow, next week. What do you have? What are the ingredients that you had to create what you've created, to create a style of living, to create, personally what you and Chris have done? You've built your own homes. You have a lifestyle. What about you, from that young lady that said, I want more, when you had nothing? What was there that you were able to believe? Like, for example, there had to be many days where you said, this isn't going to work. What was it within you that you were able to overcome nothing? Especially in today's day and age where everybody wants to put on top of the mountain. They don't want to climb the mountain anymore. They want instant gratification.
Well, honestly, Coach, for me, it was, I knew that if I put in the work, I would get the reward. If I put in the work, I would get the reward. And it was, a piece at a time. It didn't just happen overnight. And we're talking lots of hours, lots of blood, sweat, and tears. And now I'm trying to really focus on balance.
People forget the W word, Coach. What it really was for Tina, because it was similar with me. We both came from humble backgrounds, and so a lot of folks are born into families where their parents are successful and have money, and that's the point that they move towards. We had the opposite, and so we were living a lot of our lives moving away from a certain point and trying to figure out what is better. But for both of us, it really was just that, having it broken down into, I noticed that instead of being one of the people that showed up late to work every day, when I was the guy that showed up just on time, I didn't have to do anything fancy, but if I just showed up on time, then I noticed that folks depended on me more and would give me more responsibilities. And so then I would work a little harder. And when, just being the guy that was there on time and put in a full 8 hours. And we would just see those results and those benefits. Tina and I have talked about this, that everybody, folks, it's like you said, everybody wants to be the millionaire, but that W word is always a part of it. Work is always a part of it. And it's almost like, and I don't think it's as bad today, but I know you probably remember that big era in the 90s where there was nothing but get-rich-quick schemes. Everybody had one. There was this pyramid and that pyramid, and basically people were trying to peddle the idea that you could get rich easy. There was an easy way to do it. Well, other than winning the lottery or being born as a trust fund baby, the only way to get it is to work. And so for us, we just noticed we worked really hard this year, and look, we were able to afford a little bit better home. And we just, we never lost sight of that we just put more in and realized we get more out.
And it's not easy. We have a podcast, the Jack V. Hill, The Truth Podcast, and he's constantly telling people it's not easy, but it can get done. And you two are proof that it can get done, And so what was the ingredient? It was just sheer will that made you say, both of you with the company, sheer will that said we will overcome.
Yeah, really just that. And with each year that goes by and you see the rewards of your efforts,
fruits of your labor, right?
Then you just build on that, then you realize, well, gee, if I do a little more, but then you've got to get to that point, and this is what Tina and I have to work on now, is there are only so many hours in the day. We can't just keep working harder, right? And the process that it took us to get here, by some people's standards, we'd be late bloomers to be where we're at today, because we did really have to build this over time, build everything. and open our minds and grow. And, it took a while to do this, right? But, but now what we have to work on is not necessarily just working harder and harder because we want to achieve more and more. We have to, and I know that's such a generic term, but we have to figure out how to work smarter instead of harder. And that now we're more into process refinement on everything we do. We got to figure out where we're wasting time. Where do we best apply our efforts and our energies? That 80-20 rule is that, I got to laugh because, I spent some time working in the government scene, and there they joke about the 80-20 rule is that 20% of the people do 80% of the work. But the real 80% rule is that of all the things that are going on around you in the business world, 20% of everything is really where you're going to get your best benefit. And you've got to figure out what that is. Out of the dozens and dozens of people that send us business, who are the 20% that we need to focus on and give most of our attention to? And so that's what we now have to go through. And I'm sure as you talk to other people that have, worked their way up, that eventually that's the point you got to get to. It's all about refinement, process refinement, and beginning to understand where best to apply your efforts.
And so if we have some young listeners out there looking to pave a way, looking to pave their way and try to create a career, both of you, what's the best advice that you can give somebody that's out, and maybe not even a young person? But you said you two were kind of late, in this game. Anybody out there that still has the dream or a dream of being successful, what's the advice that you can give them?
Really, first it's going to have to begin with being willing to put in hours. If you want to be successful, then you've got to decide what you're moving towards and be willing to put in what it takes to get there. And I know that sounds kind of generic and it's said often by a lot of people, and I imagine it frustrates, people that are, just getting started. But there really is, it's difficult to say it any other way that if whatever that thing is that you want to get towards, if it's going to require a PhD, then you got to knuckle down and knock out those college credits. And that's that 80-20 rule thing. You got to look at your life and think about the 100% of your day and what part of that, where is the 20% of your day-to-day routine that's where you apply your focus, your effort, and your energy that you're going to get, return. And it means you got to focus. So for the young person starting out and you want to be successful, well, understand what channel you're going to take. Is it going to be real estate? Is it going to be mortgage? Is it going to be, in medicine? What is the channel that you're going to follow? And then, make the commitment. And that means, for a while in the early stages of building up towards success, it isn't work hard and play hard. It's mostly all work hard. And you got to be willing to set the play aside for a little while.
And when you had to deal with the obstacles of, like, for example, I don't know, I'm spitballing here with you. It's a numbers game. And when it's a numbers game, you have to deal with that word no, yeah. With me, growing up with the ladies, I didn't have to deal with the word no too often in my life, and so, I didn't really react well when it came to no, but in your business, it's a game of numbers. How do you deal with the no's?
Well, I think that,
I was joking too. That's all I ever heard in my life was no. That's all I ever heard.
Well, and no can really feel devastating, right? But what the devastation of that somebody feels from no is absolutely self-inflicted. It's usually directly related to the fact that they have expectations and they feel that no is just going to immediately, hinder them from those expectations. But the goal is, you've got to adjust everything in your life on that sliding scale as you progress. And the point I'm trying to get to is a lot of people get frustrated because they first decide how they want to live, and then they try to figure out how they're going to find the kind of success that's going to support it. And so often people are devastated by no because they've already strapped on the $700 car payment because somebody told them, hey, if you're going to be getting yeses, you got to roll up in a nice machine, right? And all that craziness. You know, Tina and I, the first year that we were married, we lived in the basement of a house that was part of the ARC, the Association of Retarded Citizens. And we had a client, Ricky, that we provided services to, and we made an arrangement to live in that basement for free as part of the arrangement to live there. And that's how we spent the first year of our married life together. And by doing that, though we weren't making much, we were able to save and buy our first little $69,000 house. And so we always, you know, we did what it took. You know, when I got out of the Army, I had met Tina. I was completely broke. I had nothing but my EMT certification. I had to take a job making $6 an hour, but I also had almost $400 a month in child support to pay. I had to find a room to rent, and I didn't have a car and had to walk to work. So I had to find a room within a mile or two of where I was working, and that's what I did, though, is I gave up everything else. I lived as simple of a life as I possibly could, and then that meant I wasn't living beyond my means, and I could take my time and just put in the hard work and see the benefit of it. And I left that EMT job, took an admin position at a hospital. Really, they took me in there because I was kind of handy with computers at the time. And I went in there in a little low-level admin position, and I left there 5.5 years later as a systems analyst, reporting to the vice president of medical and legal affairs, because I went there and worked my butt off every day. And I wasn't worried about paying the fancy car payment and having the best cell phone on the market and a flat screen TV. We did without. And we focused our effort on that 20% of our life that was going to give us the best return.
You know, as I know we're getting short of time because you guys have an 8 o'clock appointment. Why should, you know, tell us, why should that home buyer out there, that person, maybe that first time home buyer, you know, maybe someone who's looking to step up in, you know, in their homes and, you know, get a little bit bigger, why should they come to Bay Equity Home Loans?
Look, pause.
I look at Tina. I'm like, I think I should let her talk. She looked at me. You know, it's simple in this. You know, lending it's complicated on our end. We have tons of rules and regulations and guidelines, and things change. Right now during COVID, it's all changing on the fly. You know, minimum credit scores and the way that we can get somebody approved. You need to come to a company that's handling all that craziness on the back end, but bringing you through the process, not feeling any of that, right? And a lot of that has to do with transparency. So if somebody wants to come to a lender and they're going to get and feel like that somebody's holding their hand through the process, we're going to be very direct. We're going to let them know up front what to expect, what the process is going to be like. You know, what does it take to have a mortgage bank cut a check at the end of a process to lend you money, right? We're going to walk people through that process. You got Tina, who's been in it longer. She's got, you know, almost 30 years of experience, which is huge. And our team is excellent. I mean, we make the process happen.
Right. We try to make the process pain-free. And Coach, what sets me apart is I care. I care about the person. I care about the relationship. Most all of my customers refer all their friends and family to me. They all come back, and that's what it's about. It's about relationships. They're not just a number for me. And I tell all my customers it's either yes or not yet. There's never a no, and I'll hold their hand through the entire process. And that's really, I feel what sets me apart is because I care and I'm passionate. It shows.
It's the service that they're going to get when they come to Bay Equity Home Loans Albuquerque. They are going to get service. When you deal with Tina and Chris Krupar, you are number one. You know,
we're
you
honest.
are number
we
one.
have integrity.
Exactly.
And it's so important to be honest, to have integrity, morals, values, and know what it's like, you know, and know that person, they're scared. It's their first time. And just walk them through it. You know what I mean? That's our job, is to get them to the finish line and do it with passion. And we care. and that's really what sets us apart. I feel like that's really what makes it different for us, and we just try to give everybody the same treatment.
I still resent that young couple that we ended on that Sunday. I putting down that warm piece of Pueblo bread. I still resent that young couple. But that's what you get when you deal with, Tina and Chris Krupar, Bay Equity Home Loans. How do people get in touch with you?
My cell phone is 505-235-3249. I forgot to mention my NMLS is 235442. Again, 235442. You can obviously find us on Facebook, Instagram,
Say
whatever.
that again
LinkedIn.
for us, Tina. Slow it down a little bit. I know you're getting ready for your 8 o'clock. Say it again so we can post it. The phone number
Sure.
and then the MLS.
Sure. So NMLS is 235442. And my phone number, well, I'll give you the office, is 505-792-0090.
Got it.
Of course, we have a website as well. And it's
We posted it on our Champions Corner page.
perfect. Thank you, John. Thank you,
bet.
sir. Well, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate you inviting us on. And, Coach, we love you to death. We love your family. We
No
love
doubt.
that you're
One of the
here.
things that I want to make sure that we mention is that, John, Tina, and Chris are extremely successful. They've earned everything that they've gotten, but they're also extremely generous. They give back, and they are two of the most generous, and some of our listeners will verify how generous that they are in their hearts. And I know that, they've blessed me with their friendship. And, it is something. Now, here's the thing. Die-hard Pittsburgh Steeler fans. Die-hard. Now,
Same here. John Chavis is too, the producer.
now, you can look around the studio, going to the man cave. This place has been adorned by John Harbaugh, the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Miss Tina Krupar, the fabulous one, was born in Baltimore, Maryland. This
She has
is
a good
the
sense, though, to be a
influence
Steeler
that
fan.
Chris Krupar had on her. Born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She became black and gold, for crying out loud.
All day.
So who is the great?
They have a Pittsburgh Steeler room in their house, for crying out loud.
Awesome.
And so Tina, she made a commitment. I'm calling her out on the show before she gets off right now. She made a commitment to Coach Harbaugh personally.
Yes,
'Cause Coach
sir, I
Harbaugh
did.
was here. What was the commitment? And listen, Chris gets a little, he gets a little, a little iffy with this, what
I'm
was the-
coming home, Coach. I'm coming home. That's the commitment I made.
What are we going to do this year when we're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, Miss Krupar?
I'm wearing purple.
We got her right there. Love you
Hey,
both.
I love you too. If looks could kill, I'd be dead. Chris just gave me the hairy eyeball. But anyway,
They're tied in
Thank
with
you.
Coach. You guys are tied in with a coach on the Pittsburgh Steelers staff, you and Chris.
yes, we are.
Who you tied
Coach
in with?
John Mitchell.
Coach
Coach
Johnny
John
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Coach
Yes,
John
sir.
Mitchell. And
Yep.
they've been close friends. And so this is an emotional game between, Coach B and the Krupars and Raven. And now that, we may have to take your executive title away, being that I know that you're black and gold now.
Black and gold.
Tina and Chris, we want to bring you back. You've got so much great lessons to learn. Thank you for coming on and love you guys.
We love you too, Coach. See you later. Thank
All
you
right.
so much. All
And
right.
so, how inspirational.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great
Like,
message.
How inspirational. They started from nothing.
Yeah, and I wish more teenagers heard that, because so many and I think education's moving in that direction, because I think education for so long has been go to college, go to college, go to college, but it needs to be career and college readiness, and there are tons of people out there that don't head down that path. Like Carson on the Truth podcast. He was a student in my class and he just didn't like education, but now he's very successful. It's just like what Chris said, is that it's about hard work, and it's about making good choices so that you don't deal with a lot of those consequences that can knock the legs out of from
One of
underneath
the
you.
things they didn't mention, but Tina and Chris are relentless.
And I think you have to have that to be a successful entrepreneur.
You know, they're relentless, just like Phil here at the grill.
Absolutely.
Phil at the grill is relentless. COVID-19, not going to stop me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's exactly what you need. You need the ability to get knocked down and get up.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing that I think a lot of young kids, when they get knocked down, they don't get up. Oh, this is not going to work.
You know, like Matt said, that acronym about grit, that's exactly what it is you have to be able to, he said greatness requires internal toughness, you know. And
We talked about that the other night, remember?
But that's just it, is success on the field, success in business, success in relationships, all those things you have to be able to, and we've talked about it since the day I met you, you have to be able to deal with failure. We're all going to fail. We're all going to have bumps in the road. It's what do? Do you give up and then turn around, or you keep persevering, you know?
Yeah. No doubt. And let me tell you, the next time we have Tina on, we're going to tell stories, legendary stories about the passion that Tina Krupar has when it comes to her friends, her teams, her,
That's awesome.
I mean, an amazing couple. We wanted to keep it more about Bay Equity home loans.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to keep
But
it more about.
I think it's just even a great message to have, that if all the things that it takes, you know, like you said, you ask all these people who want to be a millionaire, everybody raises their hand, but none of those people want to put in the work, you know. So, and I look at it from being a father perspective of, you know, what my son has to put in the work. So now during COVID, we could have just sat there every single day, but, you know, we want to put in the work because we want that goal,
Right.
you know, so.
No doubt.
Yeah.
This next segment that we're gonna have, we're gonna bring on a little bit of taste, a flair of the Jersey Boys, and I want to talk about the legitimacy of sports right now, and. You know, we're going to talk. One of them's going to be my son, Frankie. Had such a good time. He kind of regrets that he was a little groggy the other night when he talked. And so he said, "Can I get another go at it?" You know, because we woke him up in bed.
I'm gonna disconnect real quick because I think we're getting a little bit of blur, and I want to see if I can fix that when we reconnect. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go off 1 second, and then we'll be right back up. So join us right around the corner. Remember, and I'll post this right here. Don't forget that if you join the Champions Corner Facebook group, you get notified every time the show is on. The way the algorithm works with Facebook is you don't always get notified if you're just liking the business page. So really join our Facebook group so that you never miss a show. So I'm gonna be off the air, and then we'll be right back on, and then we'll